a subject that's hitting every creator, every journalist, every organizer online, and that is the growing wave of digital racism and also digital censorship. Over the past few months, we've seen powerful voices deplatformed. We've seen accounts that have gotten shadow banned. We've seen truth tellers who have been silenced on every major platform from X all the way to TikTok. What we're witnessing is not a random occurrence, though. It's systemic. As media and tech consolidation tightens, we have a handful of billionaires who now get to decide what gets heard, who gets erased, and which part of our culture, gets monetized. The truth is, Black creativity, it fuels these platforms, all of them. But Black voices, ours is the first to be muted. My guest tonight is somebody who isn't just calling it out, he's building a solution. His name is Isaac Hayes III. He is the founder and CEO of Fanbase, the first social economy platform where users can post, where users can get paid, and most importantly, my favorite, where users can get their own equity. Give it up for my dear brother, Isaac Hayes III. My brother, so good to see you.
Good to see you too, man.
First of all, you're one of the few voices out there that aren't just marketing a product, but you're advocating for, in my estimation, Black self-determination. Why is that so important to you?
Because without it, we don't stand a chance of escaping the wealth gap. Got to collaborate with one another. I love all my Black billionaire friends, but we have to create 100 more of us, or 1,000 more millionaires. We have to create these large deals that include all of us together, to pull ourselves out of the wealth gap. And that's owning and building our own infrastructures.
Owning and building our own infrastructures. That is incredibly important. Fanbase does that. We're going to get to this others talk about digital racism and censorship, but I want people to know exactly what Fanbase is and how you do that.
So Fanbase is just my interpretation of what social media looks like through the lens of Black ownership, right? It's the same functionality as Instagram, TikTok, Clubhouse, YouTube, but there's ownership and equity in the platform, meaning Black voices aren't silenced. We aren't used as the fuel for their rocket ship. And then there's an opportunity for everybody to own a part of the company, which I think is important, even if you are not a person who is Black, but you understand that Black culture is a integral part of what makes social media very valuable. You can invest in this platform and own a piece of it. So collectively, it's just an opportunity for everybody to participate in Black culture economically and from a community standpoint.
The moment that Fanbase emerges is an important one. And I don't just mean right now at this moment. I mean, for the last few years, we've seen so much digital racism, digital censorship. We've seen the silencing of Black voices. As I said, it doesn't feel coincidental. It doesn't feel haphazard. It doesn't feel random. It feels like a strategy. It feels systemic. Am I wrong?
No, you're not. I think that social media was a toy, from 2004 to about 2016. And then I think people started actually consuming their news and their information through large social networks. And so people are pulling away from legacy media. And I think the establishment recognized that in a very smart and strategic way, where I think liberal voices did it, where we were still hanging on to the voices of Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon and on legacy television. These conservative think tanks and billionaires were acquiring these companies so that they can actually control the information that is shared to the masses. And so they bought the distribution channel, and we're behind.
What is the consequence of this? Because people hear billionaire, they hear, I hear oligarchy, but they hear billionaires control the media. They hear companies selling, whether it's BET, we see these big companies, what seem like big companies, sell to bigger companies. And now instead of having 10 big companies, we got 3 huge companies, or instead of 100 companies, we got 50 or 20 or whatever. What does that mean in practical terms for us?
That just means that the ability to actually get the truth is getting filtered down to a smaller and smaller section of people, and those people are using technology as a means to determine what people see, what issues matter most to people and what don't. So I've said this before, like if you see Charlie Kirk get assassinated on social media, they want you to see that, right? I've never seen anybody get assassinated on social media or shot like that, and it be played over and over and over again. So they wanted that to be seen, whereas opposed to if it's a violence against Black people or kids being pulled out of buildings in Chicago and zip tied, they don't want you to see that. And so if there's only 3 or 4 platforms that are owned by a select few where that information can get out, it shows the ability to squash a story about Black people being lynched and white men being executed, and there needs to be equal footing on both of those. Those stories need to be told equally.
How does a place like Fanbase help us do that?
Well, one, I think again, someone that is Black that is at the helm of this company does not look at Black culture as a means to an end. It looks at it as a part of the community, and so our stories can't be silenced. I don't want our stories silenced. I want the things that happen in our community to matter just as much as any other issue in any other community. So I think from that perspective, there is no agenda on my platform to silence anyone by any means. And then secondly, I think algorithmically, a lot of these algorithms are trained to elevate white creators to increase ad revenue. It's not the fault of white creators that mimic Black culture. It is the fault of these platforms that utilize Black culture to elevate white creators so they sell more advertising because there's just happens to be more white
down
people.
for me. That you saying a lot there.
Yeah.
White creators being elevated, Black culture being used. What does that mean? Like, and let's name some names here. We talking about places like Instagram. We're talking about places like TikTok.
Yeah.
What's happening exactly and how?
So in the pandemic, there's a young lady named Jalea Harmon. She came up with this dance challenge called the Renegade. Got very, very popular on TikTok. Another creator named Charlie D'Amelio did that same challenge. And what happens is that TikTok elevated her video to a status that made her a household name on that platform. And in 5 years, Charlie D'Amelio's net worth or her earnings have gone over $25 million, where the original creator of the dance, Jalea Harmon, has made nowhere near that amount of money. And I understand why, because again, things built by white people are assumed to be for all people, and things built or done by Black people are seen to just be done for Black people. So it behooves a platform like TikTok to elevate a Charlie D'Amelio because she can sell Dunkin' coffee. She can sell, a jean ad. She can sell anything. You can market anything through a young white face to a larger audience of people. And that's not Charlie D'Amelio's fault. She's just the benefactor of copying Black culture and then using that to be elevated by a platform like TikTok.
So in a place like Fanbase, what does the young Black creator do? They've made a dance, they've made a song, they've made a skit, they've made a show, whatever the thing is. If they're on Instagram or TikTok, I have a sense of what's going to happen based on what you just laid out. How does that play out differently in Fanbase?
Well, one, we don't run advertising. We're not built off advertising. So every single person that's on social media is in competition with Instagram and these other platforms because they make money off of advertising views, but they don't want you to have the same reach that they do. So they're not going to give you the same reach that they would give a brand, because then the brand would just use you as the conduit, which honestly, there's nothing to stop that now. Once video got added to social media, every single person on the planet became a television network, a television channel. So that means if you have 20 million viewers, 20 million followers, a million followers, you have the advertising equivalent of what a network would have with a show. So if Monday Night Football has 18 million viewers and they can sell ads for let's say $800,000, right? Then if you have 18 million followers, you should be able to put on a Coca-Cola t-shirt and ad in between your show and sell that for $800,000. So Instagram knows that, so they smush you down. So on Fanbase, my instinct or my motivation is not advertising. It is actually compensation for the creator, a rev share model that gives the ability for the creator to make that money. So we're not trying to uplift one race over another to make more advertising. You are who you are. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because our new recommendation engine is launching this week. I'm actually, testing it out now and getting a chance to play with it more tomorrow. But I'm really happy about what the team's been able to build, because now it's an algorithm that's been trained by Black people, that understands Black culture, and will serve people content that is relevant to their liking and interest.
I love that. Now, there's going to be people who say, yeah, but let me not put the slave voice on them. That's not fair. Let me just say that I was about to. I had a whole,
Yeah.
Right. But Instagram is mighty big. But there are people out there who are going to say, okay, so on Fanbase you get a larger chunk of it, but the pool is so small that Fanbase is small and not worth engaging. Why not go to the big Instagrams, TikToks, Twitter, X's, whatever, where even though you're not getting as much, even though they're exploiting you, there's a big check at the end of the tunnel. And at Fanbase, it ain't no money over there.
Well, I'd be remiss to ask anybody that's on social media. The average social media user takes over 6 months to make their first dollar on social media. There's people that have been on social media for the past 10, 15 years, haven't made a dollar from Instagram or TikTok. There are people that get on Fanbase and make their first dollar in the first 5 minutes of being on the platform, simply because you can tip on Fanbase. You can like posts, but you can love them. When you love a post, you tip a person half a penny. You can subscribe to people, follow them for free, but you can also subscribe to people the same way that people have Patreon subscriptions or OnlyFans without the pornography, but additional content that people can subscribe to exists on the platform all in one place. So you don't have to hop around from one platform to another. You have everything kind of all together in a community environment. And then that just gives you the ability to start to scale. I mean, really, there's nothing in between you and a person with a smartphone and a subscription button. And I think that's very important, because that's the future of how we're going to monetize. It's through large social networks that are connected, where every single individual on the planet is a content provider. And those people that provide the most entertaining content are going to have subscribers, just like Netflix, just like Hulu, just like Disney Plus. But they'll be subscribing to Marc Lamont Hill. They'll be subscribing to Starbucks. They'll be subscribing to Young Boy, whoever. And the amount of money that's going to accrue to people like you individually as content creators in communities, not standoff products, but a community like is massive. It's billions and trillions of dollars.
Wow. What do people do? How can people get a hold of you or a fan base? What should people do? I said, what should people do? How do people get a hold of a fan base? How do people get involved?
Oh, hold on, you dropped out for a second. Say, hold on, I'm getting a little delay. You there? There you go.
Yep. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Fan base. People want to try it out. People want to get down. I'm seeing people in the comments saying, what do we do? How do we get on it? How do they connect?
Yeah. So you can invest in Fanbase. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. The minimum is $399 to invest. Fanbase. You want to download Fanbase? We're on iOS and Android in both app stores. So do that. And then again, startengine.com/fanbase to invest. Our raise closes December 18th. So please hurry up and invest. I need to see you on the platform in the audio room too, Mark.
I'm down.
I see you sometimes on X. I need to.
Just let me know, brother. I'll be there. Audio room on Fanbase. I'll be there. I'll also jump on as an investor. I want people to understand that there's an opportunity here to not just join the app as a user, but to actually invest in this project and be on the ground floor of something special. Do your research, look into it. I'm not telling y'all to do it, but I do encourage you to do the research and see for yourself. And I'm going to do it. So you can take from that what you want.